as cliche as it sounds, as overly said, as much as it is out there to just be yourself, to be honest, to be unique, to be all of those things that we hear, that for so long I honestly, like, especially within the teaching environment and within the classroom, like, it's like all those little posters that are up on the wall that are like, you can do anything, you can do this, you can do that. And I always, honestly, I always hated those. But I realized recently that there's so much honesty. There is so much within these statements that is why they are there. And it's just a matter of, because I thought about, like, okay, well then why doesn't it work? Why, if we're saying all these things, we're doing all these things within the schools, within society, why doesn't it work if we're telling people to do all of these things, to be yourself, to find yourself, to find what works for you, and to learn the way that you learn, and to be who you are. And it's, well, we have these structures, and while we need them, we need some amount of organization. It's like we tell people to, go and figure out a way that works, to be however you want to be, to create, to design, but make sure that you do it in a way that you can be successful. It's like, when I went to college for the first time, for my first degree, and I thought, like, how do I find a major? How do I find something that is going to make money? I mean, realistically, like, I was taught to be logical. I was taught to do something that, is going to be something that you're going to be able to build a life off of, something that is, that will sustain your career. And so that's what I looked for. And because of that, because we say, like, do this, find yourself, but do it this way, it's almost as if it is even more of a hindrance than just to say follow the structure, to also say this, because it's like we're pulling people in two different directions, especially students. And like, as learners, we're really just jerking them back and forth, like, within our education system, like within the classroom, because we tell these kids, like, we tell them, find who you are, find how you learn, find, what you are good at, what you can do. And then we say, oh, by the way, don't get a degree in art, don't pursue anything other than, like, math and science, go into the medical field, go into technology, go into this. We don't tell them that, hey, you actually can do anything. Well, we tell them that, but we don't tell them that, like, hey, you can do this, you just need to figure out a way to make it work. And this right here, this is where it really is more challenging to do it that way. So it's almost like we're saying, like, do it because that is, like, the goal. And we are then, it's like a reflection of ourselves as well, because as teachers, like, within the classroom, which I am not anymore, but when I was, like, I was limited to being in the classroom. Like, that was my job, and that was all that I could see, all that I could teach, because I didn't have the experience that I have now to share this other perspective. So that's why I really believe that the people who I can reach most now are really, like, all learners, of course, but we need to start with these teachers, because it begins there, right? And then, of course, the learners, like, if you have someone who really is just like, go, Of course, you gotta have a balance, because I've been there too. The go, 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 and then not having any rest except for when you crash. I'm not recommending that either. But you know, there are people who, even if they go through these systems, they can go through them and still develop their own style, their own way, their own, you know, their own business, their own whatever it is. Not everyone has to have a business, but you get the idea. They can have their own style, and they can create a life that they enjoy living, and where they can make a living, and where they can just enjoy life and be able to sustain themselves. But for the majority of people who go through these systems, it just isn't that way. They need a little bit more support, and that is completely okay. But the only way that we can provide that to them, and especially as teachers, is by getting that education and that support for ourselves. And so that is really where I am reaching out to. And I want teachers to know that you can go beyond just what is in the classroom. Like, you can branch out. You can do so much more than just following a set of curriculum. And even beyond teachers, like within our whole school systems, like we don't have to have everything just this way, like micromanaged so that it is following these systems. Like, there is a way to do it that follows a system and that allows for creativity. But the way to do it is not saying, okay, do it, like, these are your tasks you need to accomplish, this is the organized schedule I've created for you to follow. We're just perpetuating that cycle of them going through and like following the steps and not really thinking for themselves. And the way to do it is rather to teach those students to create their own schedule, to really take that initiative, to think, to have those goals. Because in society, like in life, you do have deadlines, you have tasks that you have to accomplish, and things that you have to check off that you just have to do, and you don't have anyone lining it all up for you. You've got to figure it out. So if we prepare students instead by saying, like, okay, here is your goal, and here are all of the tools that you can use to get there, and let's work together to figure out how to get there. Like, guiding them through instead, if they need more guidance, instead of saying this is the process, instead giving them the questions, like, how can you think about organizing it so that you will have all of your tasks complete before your deadline, so that you will not be procrastinating right before the assignment is due, or whatever it is. But the mentality is different, because it's no longer teaching to just follow all the steps, but rather teaching the student to think and to say, okay, this is what I need to do, these are the resources I have, and this is potentially how I could get there, and like guiding them through that process of problem solving. And that's really like a whole thing all in itself. With the problem solving is that we teach all of these subjects as well, and we're met with so much resistance within the classroom by students to learn these subjects. At least in the schools where I've taught, there is not even a lack of desire to learn, but like a hatred of learning, because we as students lack this understanding of, how does this benefit me? Like, how do these subjects, how am I going to use them within my life? And the truth is, like, if you learn math, you learn science, you learn art, whatever it is, like, you don't necessarily have to use something directly for it to be useful to you. And I think that, again, this is where it really is important to address it from the teacher's perspective, because even when I was, teaching math, like, I honestly didn't know really. I was like, when are you gonna use this math? Let me look for some ways where you can use these math concepts. But the more that I learned, and then the more that I created my own system, the more that I realized that there is a dog down here squeaking his toy. But the more that I realized that we don't necessarily use all of these subjects that we learn, but we use what we learn from them. We use from math, for example, the ability to think, to problem solve, and to be logical. And from all these other subjects that we learn, we don't necessarily like learn them and use them. And again, it's shifting away from that mentality of like, do this, do this, do this, do this, like learn this, use this, you know, get this, put it here, from learn as much as you possibly can to, okay, how can I think? How can I process all of this information? And then how can I create my own process, my own thoughts, my own ideas with what I know? And that's why now, like, all I want to do is learn, because it just fuels everything I do. But it's not a matter of like learning and then doing this, or like learning math concepts and teaching those concepts. It's a matter of learning and then allowing that to process and come out in a truly unique way. And that's what we need to be teaching in our schools. That's what we need to have more of in this world, is people who can actually think and who can create. And like, yes, we need people who, you know, who go into the medical field and who go into other fields that use math and science and all of that, but we also need our artists and our designers and our writers and our creators. We need a balance and a blend of all of these. But what we need more than anything is that we need people who are where they are supposed to be. We need people who are doing what they absolutely love to be doing, what they are so passionate and so intrinsically fueled to do, to create that and to contribute that into our society. And that is what we need. And that is what I stand for within my business and my education system and everything that I do over here. And that is my spiel for today. I will see you guys back here very, very soon with another video.